Well, it's just after sunrise and we're heading about 90 kilometres outside KK to the highest mountain in Southeast Asia, Kinabalu. 50% of Sabah is swathed in tropical rainforests, estimated at over 125 million years old. Towering majestically over this, at 4,095 metres or 13,500 feet, is Mount Kinabalu. John, are you going up the mountain voluntarily this morning?
I'm told so, yes, definitely.
Right. So you're looking forward to this?
Well, I suppose I'm viewing it a bit like life, you know, it will end.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So any advice for us climbers?
Take it steady.
Take it steady. Yeah.
Go at your own pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Drink plenty of
And
water.
eat lots of candy.
Lots of sweets, lots of water. That's what's going to take you to the top. Yeah.
This will get me there.
It's actually it's just an excuse to eat sweets that you're not allowed to eat. The dentist says not to.
Going up my bus.
Actually, so are we.
They paid quite a bit more for their trip than we paid for ours.
So you're going to do some bird watching on the way up?
They tell me that there's one bird.
Oh, great.
And probably at the taxidermist, so it's like we may not see him. He purchased about midway.
Like the 2 million bats.
Yeah.
It didn't show.
We won't go there.
Before embarking into this World Heritage Site, trekkers must first register at the mountain's base and meet their porter and compulsory guide. Climbing the peak is no walk in the park. The 8-kilometre walk begins easily with a scenic stop and a downhill run past thick undergrowth and small waterfalls. At this point, you can begin to admire some of the 6,000 plant species that grow here. Well, the first part of the climb up is a nature lover's delight. You've got around 280 species of birds to spot here, along with trees that are full of orchids and covered with wonderful moss like this. Back in 1851, British adventurer Sir Hugh Low was one of the first people to record the splendour of the mountain. Now, Sir Hugh had it pretty tough with no frills and absolutely no amenities. These days, there are shelters like this one every 45 minutes along the trail, so you can mark your progress, or in my case, lack of it. There are also tanks like that one, full of fresh drinking water. Most importantly, toilet. You'll find plenty of distractions along the way, including perhaps a glimpse of some Rafflesia in bloom. This is the world's largest flower species. Now, most people take 2 days to climb the mountain, staying overnight in the bungalows so that they can both acclimatise and see the sunrise over the summit the next morning. Now, the fastest time both up and down the mountain was by a Gurkha, who ran a record time of 2 hours and 42 minutes in the annual Kinabalu Marathon. Now, I've got absolutely no intention of trying to come anywhere near that time. By this stage, at about 2,000 plus metres, you'll be walking into the clouds that shroud the granite peak. If you're feeling out of breath, slow down and spare a thought for your porter, who's probably carrying 30 to 40 kilos on his or her back. The first foreigner to climb Mount Kinabalu was a British colonial officer called Sir Hugh Low. Now, that was back in 1851. Unfortunately, he didn't reach the summit due to a faulty barometer. Now, in 1858, he tried again, and once again his barometer let him down. Now, it was 30 years later when zoologist John Whitehead decided to try for the top. He made it, and being the true gentleman that he was, he called it Low's Peak. Not far ahead, your rustic accommodation for the night is waiting. Now you stayed overnight, did you?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be colder, but it was okay.
How was the room?
Cozy. We had a
Um,
room with 6 people.
Oh, okay, so you're
For
all
6
in
people.
bunks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a little kitchen outside. So
what time were you up this morning?
About 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
We
and
left.
Oh, and
we left at about 3 o'clock and
And
we
what
wake
time?
up at 2:30.
Right, and you got to the summit what time?
Yeah. I was there about 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock,
I
something
think.
like that.
And how are those last 2 hours of climbing?
Well, it's
Now it's gonna be a lot different.
very hard. It's very hard.
you
The
don't
height,
Yeah, and in the dark.
And in the dark. Yeah.
Tired, sore and breathless, most will still admit that this view is well worth the agony of the climb. Once you descend the mountain, make sure you head straight for pouring hot springs, a legacy of the Japanese occupation from 1942 to 45, and the best remedy for soothing those aches and pains. The springs were actually built by the Japanese, who occupied Borneo during the Second World War. These days, of course, the Japanese are among thousands of tourists who visit here from all over the world who enjoy the therapeutic quality of the hot water. When they say hot, I mean it's seriously hot. I mean, Chris, you're from Taiwan and you're used to this, but can you keep your feet in this?
No, this is not the normal one. This is too hot for us.
Well, I think it's too hot for anyone. I could cook an egg in here.
Yes, that's right.
After a dip in the hot tub, you can explore the steamy jungle on a canopy walkway and enjoy the view of Kinabalu from a different perspective.